Everybody, I'm Dr. Chloe West. I'm a psychedelic neuroscientist, and I figured what better way to launch my YouTube career than to try and enter into an altered state of consciousness. So that is what I'm going to do today, and I thought I would film the whole thing for you guys to watch and to learn along with me. Just a disclaimer, I am not going to be doing drugs. I'm going to be trying this light and sound stimulating eye mask called the Nova. It was just launched by a company called Luminate. Their tagline is the consciousness shifting eye mask. Essentially, you close your eyes and it flashes bright lights at you, and this is supposed to induce a semi-psychedelic state, somewhere between deep meditation and a pretty high dose of LSD. They describe the mechanism as neural entrainment. The idea is that your brainwaves start to synchronize with the frequency of the flashing lights. So quick thing before we start, this is not an ad and nobody is paying me for this. I'm just going to give you my honest read as a neuroscientist on whether I feel like I'm actually entering into an altered state of consciousness. And I'm going to break down the neuroscience behind what's actually going on while this happens, if this happens. And honestly, I hope it does because I think that would be pretty cool. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so let's unbox this thing. On the front of the box, we have your inner world awaits. Inside, we have our eye mask, which I did already peek at this, but I have not tried it yet. Very nice. It's got that foam padding to really block the light out. We've got a little bag to carry it in and a USB-C charger. So Luminate's phone app has a version of this that uses your phone's back camera to do something similar, and I actually tried this out a few years ago and I thought it was pretty cool. I don't remember feeling like I was tripping on acid or anything like that, but I definitely remember feeling relaxed and felt like I had some visual stuff going on. So what makes me really excited about the mask is that there are 4 independently controlled high precision LEDs, which is how it drives those flashing patterns with more consistency and intensity. So I have high expectations for this thing. And so for this version, we still need the app for the soundscapes, for the expertly crafted journeys, which are voiced by actress Rosamund Pike from Gone Girl and Wheel of Time, and I love both of those. She's an investor in Luminate and the company's creative director. Okay, so before I put this on, let's look at what the research actually says about this. On their website, Luminate points us to a real peer-reviewed study published in the journal Frontiers in Psychology in 2024. The researchers sat down 20 people in front of a flickering light at about 10 flashes per second, once with music and once without, and they measured the experience using the exact same questionnaires that psychedelic researchers use for drugs like LSD. There were 2 findings that stood out to me. The first was that the flicker produced widespread changes in consciousness. 22 out of 29 measures on this questionnaire went up significantly. The single highest scoring item was I saw geometric patterns, which actually scored higher under the flickering light than it did under LSD or psilocybin in previous studies. And the next 2 highest items were the experience had a dreamlike quality and my thoughts wandered freely. These beat the psychedelic scores as well. The second finding that I found interesting was that the flickering light significantly boosted the emotional power of the music. This sounds like psychedelics, which make people feel music more intensely and in a richer and more vibrant way. Now, here are 3 caveats. First, the study used a research-grade lab lamp, so not this particular mask. I can't assume that the Nova reproduces the same effects to the same degree. Number 2, they measured what people reported feeling using questionnaires. They did not measure brain activity. This is subjective data, not a recording of any actual neural correlates of an altered state of consciousness. And number 3, the lab that published the study disclosed that it did receive funding from Luminate. So these are just some things to keep in mind. A separate independent study in 2021 did basically the same thing. People saw vivid patterns and colors and geometric shapes with their eyes closed, and they rated the intensity as high as people rate about 100 micrograms of LSD. Okay, so what's actually driving these subjective changes? The leading answer is a concept we call brain entropy. You've probably heard the word entropy in a physics class where it has a very specific meaning about energy and disorder. Entropy in physics is a measure of how disordered a system is. Neuroscience borrowed the term for something related but distinct. So in the brain, entropy just means how varied or unpredictable your brain activity is at any given moment. This idea comes from Carhart-Harris, who proposed the entropic brain hypothesis back in 2014. He has revised it as more research has come in, and his newest version, published in the journal Brain this year, states that brain entropy tracks what he calls the size of phenomenal consciousness. In plain terms, that's the breadth of your conscious experience, how expanded it is, how much is present to you at once. Here's how Carhart-Harris describes what that entropy actually does. Most of the time, he says, your brain compresses experience into solid familiar chunks. Your fixed beliefs, your habits, your predictions, the stories about who you are and how the world works. Raising brain entropy breaks some of those rigid chunks into smaller, finer pieces. And here's why that would matter beyond just a cool, trippy experience. For mental health, this matters because depression, addiction, and other forms of psychological suffering are often linked to deeply entrenched patterns of thought and behavior. Loosening those patterns does not create healing by itself, but it may create a window in which new perspectives, healthier habits, and more adaptive ways of being can take root. So, could a mask like this actually help with something like depression or anxiety? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe nobody has tested that. There's no clinical trials on flickering light at all for treating any mental health conditions, but I think it's a reasonable extrapolation from the entropy story, and it would be pretty cool if somebody tested this. Now, that whole story hangs on one big assumption, that flickering light actually raises brain entropy in the first place. So, what do we think? For psychedelics, the answer is a clear yes. When people take LSD, psilocybin, or DMT, the diversity of their brain signals measurably rises above normal waking consciousness levels, and this has been shown pretty cleanly in various studies in the psychedelic literature. But in his most recent revision of the entropic brain hypothesis, Carhart-Harris lists flickering light stimulation right alongside other things that increase entropy, like psychedelics, expert meditation, and near-death experiences. Almost nobody has actually measured whether flickering light raises entropy. As far as I can find, there's only one small pilot study that has tested this. In 2019, scientists studied people's brain activity with EEG under stroboscopic flashing light and found that the diversity of the brain signal went up. It has not been peer-reviewed and it has a small sample size, so hold it loosely, but I think that it points in the direction that the theory predicts. If this mask really does nudge my brain toward a higher entropy, more expansive state, then I shouldn't just see some pretty colors. I should feel my ordinary consciousness actually shift. If it's just a light show, then I'll know. If it's something more than that, then I think I will know too. So let's find out. I'm gonna put this on and run a full session. Okay, let's get started. I'm reading the instructions and it says to put it on my head. Let me go get my headphones. Okay, we're gonna do the 10-minute immersive guided intro to your Nova.
Welcome to your first journey with Luminate. Take a moment to settle into a comfortable position. Then, if you haven't already, place Nova onto your head and over your eyes.
Just finished the intro session. I feel a little disoriented, like for a minute there I felt dizzy. I don't have words. Like I'm not in the zone. The whole time, obviously I was like thinking, what am I gonna say in the video? And I was like, stop, just enjoy the experience. But the whole time I was like, I'm not having visuals, like it's just the flashing lights. Meanwhile, like it's orange and teal and white and there's like patterns and movements and circles. At one point I saw like what looked like an archery target, a pink ring, a blue ring, other color. It felt very intense. Like it felt like I was watching an intense experience. I didn't feel like I was tripping or anything, besides just feeling like a little dissociated. I can't even talk. Besides feeling like a little dissociated after I took the eye mask off, during it, I was like, I'm sound of mind right now. I'm gonna take a little break. Let's do another one and see what that actually does to my state of consciousness. Can confirm visuals, but I'm still in the same state of consciousness, I think. Okay, let's do our second session. Open your mind and get ready for a deep journey within. Here we go.
Close your eyes. And now take some deep breaths.
Thoughts on the second one. There were moments that were reminiscent of when you've been overserved and the room is spinning. My body feels a little something something. To summarize as quickly as I can while my words are coming out so slow, I feel like I'm the type of person that has such a hard time just like doing that. I could see how for somebody maybe who can kind of get into that state a little easier, you could get into an altered state of consciousness. I can see for me, it would take some practice. I do a breathwork routine before I meditate that really helps me to kind of get there. And even when I do the breathwork, most days I don't feel like during my meditation that I'm experiencing an altered state of consciousness. The strongest I've ever felt like that from meditating was at a silent meditation retreat where all distractions were removed. So it takes a lot for me to get there. I could see adding breath work to this being a way for me to maybe get there faster. So let me know if you want me to do a video on that, and I will. It felt like I was at a rave. No, it looked like I was at a rave. I will say my thoughts didn't feel like very loud or clear, or more clear and loud than usual, I guess. Definitely, I guess I was exploring different ways of thinking because I was like, this is a new experience, but I don't think it was necessarily like an altered state kind of exploring new ways of thinking. At the very end, I remember like saying to myself, like, just let go, because I could kind of feel myself fighting it. And when I was saying that, I felt that intensity in my body kind of ramp up, like some motion. I don't know how to describe it. There was a moment where I like felt myself getting almost a little emotional about like accessibility, like the fact that like this experience that's psychedelic-ish is available to so many people when psychedelics are not. So like it made me grateful for Luminate and the Nova mask. I could see like this being a great introduction into meditating for somebody who like doesn't want to sit in silence. Overall, I enjoyed the experience. As a neuroscientist, did this actually raise the entropy in my brain? I cannot tell you that from the inside, whether my brain entropy went up or did not. Nobody can tell you this. This is a measure that you calculate from a recording of brain activity. But I can tell you is whether what I felt matched the fingerprint of the states we know are high entropy. And I would say it partly did. I did not experience that expanded, loosened quality of mind that shows up under psychedelics and deep meditation. I could see that happening with practice, with maybe breath work beforehand in other people where it's easier for you to get to that kind of state. With that, I see why flickering light is sitting right there alongside psychedelic states and near-death experiences on Robin Carhart-Harris's list. I think this is a pretty cool piece of tech. You should try it if you want. I think it would be really fun to kind of like have your friends come over and all take turns doing it. In a future video, I would love to actually measure this with EEGs, but that takes equipment that I don't yet have access to. So if you want to see videos like that, the best way to make it happen is to support my channel. I write essays on the brain, belief, and psychedelic science on my Substack, where I also have a community chat that you can join. You can subscribe for free, or you can support the channel for a small fee. Genuinely, thank you so much for watching my very first YouTube video. If you have tried Flickr Lite or the Nova or anything like it, tell me in the comments what it was like for you, and let me know what you'd like me to cover in the next video. Okay, have a good day.